Welcome. Thought I'd hit record. Looking into clouds, I'm kind of stuck in some ways, like trying to figure out different approaches, different things to look at. I'm thinking like, well, I've looked in space, I've looked in like Earth itself, like geology, and other things, but like now I'm kind of like, what can I consider to maybe add some clarity to what's going on with the undercurrents causing the Earth expansion process? And I just decided a couple days ago maybe to watch some videos on cloud types. I was like, you know what? I don't know much about clouds. Maybe I should watch some videos. And I didn't get very far. But I got far enough to hear about this one cloud type called Morning Glory Cloud. And what I found, what really piqued my interest about it, because as I'm watching it, I'm like, they're not really saying like where these are. So are they globally found? Like, are there any of these that are found in specific locations? And then the second video I watched, I only think I watched two, maybe three, just like, top 15 strange cloud formations and and just like a bit of more like these are the cloud types. So, when I heard this one was only in North Australia, it piqued my interest because I've been talking a lot about the ammonite here. Where a current flowed basically from this way. But initially, Australia was over here. It flowed into it, and then as it was like meeting resistance, it kind of just created space until the physical bond between adjacent materials of the continents where it was able to actually like split apart and break, which had like nodes, like atoms that had to have the bonds between them break. And then there was another current coming up this way, so there were two currents and maybe a third. I'm still not sure about that part. That is interacting here and basically producing a ammonite feature that the whole of Australia rests upon here as like a table with a secondary leg of the table over here. And then morning glory cloud is a rare meteorological phenomenon consisting of a low-level atmospheric solitary wave and associated cloud occasionally observed in different locations around the world. The wave often occurs, so interesting. I wonder where those locations are. Maybe it would be cool to from the video, which obviously is a YouTube video of 15 strangest clouds. No offense. Maybe there's other locations where they regularly occur, but it sounded like at the least they're like generally only known location where it can be predicted and observed regularly. And then it says, due to the configuration of land and sea in the area. Which maybe or maybe or not is the case. Because of this ammonite feature. I'm very curious, like, does this ammonite feature lead to like waves forming basically here that flow this way, and then they flow out this way, and then they gather moisture above the water, so they form like kind of straight lines. I'm like, is there... I never really looked to see, because the ammonite, like, previous nucleus was essentially, if we look closely, we can kind of see an outer ring here that's about this width. So my interpretation is there were a bunch of currents kind of just wrapping around what would produce an outer boundary that just kind of squeezed in on it and produced a really solid outer boundary initially. Or maybe not even ever. Maybe it just was flowing through like this. But it looks like it initially did based on this, and the way this current goes essentially goes up and then follows what would have been a wall. And then this over here looks like it kind of had the shape of it. I may be mistaken on that it ever had a totally spherical or circular type of layer region that it was compressed into, but it generally appears in my mind to have an outer ring with a space between, and then an inner ring, and maybe even a space there. But largely where the space is actually carved out, like it compacted material, but it became so densely packed that a current was able to basically flow into a region and start to just like swirl in it because it had nowhere to go, and I maybe even just like caused a outlet channel, but just kind of kept swirling around until it could actually reach all the way around. But so maybe this feature is, I haven't looked for it, is kind of here, like this. I don't know, this looks kind of... starts up here. I mean, maybe here. Oops. Where is this? 132, 25, let's say. Interesting. I've kind of always just assumed that it was actually just right here or here. This is incredible. it's narrow and widens, so it's like a inlet. Like the flows are generally going that way, right? Yeah, it doesn't really look like this way. Like maybe the lighter color ones. Which would be interesting if it did like both things. It's like it has like an eyeball, but that goes out to there, and then to there, and then a whole new eyeball. That does the same thing. That then goes down this way. That's there. Down here, this has like a magnetic field. Right there is like here. Whoa. Shallogram feature with like a widening and then basically this, but then an extension outward, and then again and again and again and again. So there's a current coming in this way that I guess is really going through here a lot, but interacting with the counter current. So it's really getting deflected off, but it's reaching in. While this one is kind of pushing a resistance. So it's pretty much producing a wall from this side, while this side is just flowing into it. So it's kind of like, and then swirling from the outflow here. But this current's generally get forced up this way, like past that boundary. I don't know, maybe. So there's a really distinct eye. It must be here. Where is it? This lower jaw. Fossil shells. Final chamber. Oh yeah, you guys can't even see. It's like, dude, get out of the way. I mean, can see part of it, just not that. Okay. I was just kind of looking what I labeled it here, based on like the interpretation that we're looking at an actual ammonite caused by currents and by undercurrents colliding and swirling, producing a shape in the terrain, and that is an ammonite shape. Wow, that's incredible. That's definitely right there. It's real visible here. Like, it's clear. Some places it's difficult to tell like where things are. Like North America, you pretty much have to look at the coordinates, not the GPS. Pardon me, people who are like, "What the fuck, dude?" No, like over here, this is not what this looks like. It's very hard to be like where something like this. Maybe it's Yellowstone, but it's not. Like Yellowstone's here, actually, of all places, or maybe here. Like I don't. It's like right around here, and like nowhere that can really be like. Maybe even here. I think it's where this and this kind of converge, which is actually like here. Is like the best way to find Yellowstone on here because there's no indication on the map that's like clear. Whereas Australia, pardon me, there we go. This feature is for sure. This feature, cool. Okay, maybe I can do this now, then. Oh yeah, I guess I could do the same here, so I can actually click it. It's so cool. Okay, so we got this is here for sure. This is actually not quite here. This is down here, I guess centered on this region, like this bottom and this top. Let's see. This is 20 minus 26.3. Oh yeah, I don't need to do that. I can just look. Pretty much, yeah, pretty much there. Let's see. 131. And then 27, 27. So even down to here, I guess. Generally like there. Which would make sense because these are actually failed pillars, like, and this is this. So here's a support structure down here. Here's one over here, and then basically over like this region, I guess, has a substantial, and then down below it, like from here down this way, or whatever, over this way. up here-ish, down this way to the figure 8 thing down here. And then over here. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, dudes. Here as well. I guess this is another one. Like here. Next to this. Like this eye. Which is kind of like a nucleus of a system like this. It formed adjacent to this figure 8 structure. Or whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's not actually cutting across, but it probably is. Probably is, dudes. Okay. I'm just looking like, huh. It's a little flame type structure there. Coming off of it. Looks kind of like, West Maui, maybe? East Maui? East Maui. Kind of like how this happened. From essentially a current flowed here underneath it, and then like bubbled up as it went underneath a mass. Like there was a mass here causing an imbalance that pushed it downward underneath it, but then also caused some of it to flow upward. Kind of has that kind of thing going on, where there's like a, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm just being crazy. Oh no, there's a volcano there. Generally here. Let's see where that is. 126. It's around there. Right at the edge there. It's really over here. Maybe there's like a bigger one that goes down here. That kind of has this boundary. What's up here? We got this region underneath the eye. Kind of reminiscent of like Nevada, Western United States. Let's see. Even into Mexico a bit. But especially here. And this is kind of some eyes. Like, or at least a yin yang here that has like eye-like features on a face. To a point where maybe eyes have sort of like a yin yang thing going. Let's see over here. This region is split by this current going this way, where half, and it's basically split right here. So it must be here. I'm just trying to get a bearing on like what's going on. It's at the edge of this magnetic field type feature that's pretty much flowing maybe like this. Like it's really not able to get into here until it is. But just, or maybe just carving in to a degree, but then it really requires like novas to break the boundary, I think. And then suddenly like flows come in, burst, flood in. It's like water. I saw a video, someone's house had like muddy water build up behind of it suddenly, and then it burst through and just flooded across. That's pretty much of that nature, where it's just like this wall holding back this a dam pretty much that this side of the continental shelf that Laurentia was pretty much got flooded into once the side broke. And then initially it was just kind of like a little channel just carving and opening it with no channel, just a bunch of currents hitting it but just flowing into it but not actually through it, until it started to like break through because the currents were sufficient. So there's something there, but it's not. Let's see. There is a magnetic field involved here. Let's go back here then. With that concept in mind, there is also a magnetic field here that I believe basically extended all the way out here, and it's at one point just crossing the whole Australia, like down through here, before this took shape through here and back up like this way. Just a huge magnetic field forming there. Here, centered here, which is 128 minus 26.5. That was 128-ish. Was where? Here. Basically here. Here. 120. 127.8. 26.4. Sorry guys. I know I'm not making it better. Oh wait, 130? Oh yeah, 120. Somewhere over here. I guess I can type it in. I think I just gotta type it backwards, that's all. Minus 26.4, 127.75. There. There we go. That does not make sense. Like the flow I'm interpreting to have gone all the way out here. So there must have been the flow going into some region that's visible somewhere. Wonder if this has like a W. Where it's like flowing to a certain point, but then it's got... I don't know. There's W's everywhere. There's W's everywhere. That's all. I'm just thinking about parallels, but where could that have been? Some more eyes. Because essentially, Papua New Guinea was here to here. And then this region was actually like down here. But it was, this is where the bond was. It was physically bonded. From here, this is Papua New Guinea, up to here. To Oregon. So Oregon was basically bonded here. And then we got... I'm just going to write some numbers. $650. Okay. Let's go to that one. 162. Okay, just to get an idea of... So basically it was bonded from there to here, but with like a spacer of this region, basically. And then basically Southeast Asia was actually bound up here, like this island was up here, attached here. And generally the Philippines, maybe the Philippines are what was there, because they mimic here to the point where like this was there maybe, but also so was the Philippines in different layers. So, sort of like here, but then also like it has different figure eights within it that all take different shapes to a point where they're like different extents, different boundaries, different effects, and that also happens up here where there's just like many of these Tarim Basin things that just flow out to like a W, which goes up to here because it goes basically, this is the shallowest middle elevation and lowest deepest waters because they follow that trend of high, medium, low, high, medium, low, high, I don't know if, essentially, and then all sorts of things. Why was I talking about that? Yeah. So maybe the same thing happened. Let's see though. Based off of this, let's go over here. Basically from here. Maybe I'll follow just generally the actual coastline. It's probably a good like boundary shape that it had. So 650 is gonna be around there. Which is in line with this thing, interestingly. Okay, that's getting us somewhere. So it was in line with it. Okay, 1162. Oh, I can do that. Another like major location. Also, I'm pretty sure there's a stream that goes this way, that goes out this way basically, and like flows through here. That generally is part of this larger stream that overlays here, producing this like this region basically over top a current that's generally flowing underneath here, because it essentially goes around and flows this way but also this way, but then as it flows this way it generally flows this way, but then another current flows atop it to push it this way, so then it basically produces this region, but then a thread of the current goes through and goes under here, and that's around where Australia's next bend is. Interesting. I don't know if it's like actually related, but it's notable. Let's see. What do I call this place? What do I call you? Oops. Let's say Tongass. Sup, Tong? Sorry for the, secondary aspect. It's probably our mutual love combined. Okay, so from Tongass, which is 1162, I guess I'll just essentially start here. Then I need to go 1860 or 1886, so 724. Hey, my birthday. I guess we're following the actual coastline. Why not? It seems reasonable enough. 7, that's right. Like, what was the number? Oh, yeah. So that would take us. Although, and now that I think about it, like I started measuring from here, but realistically, there's probably a width of like this much that I needed to account for, because it probably opened up by a current flowed this way, basically out this way into the Pacific, running into resistance, and so it bent and went this way along the coastline here, through here, severing like chunks off as it went, creating like these oval eye shapes, but bringing a current, also breaking this off to a point where it basically, as it moves this way, it also wraps around and starts to like separate the region from yeah, from here, like it starts to wrap around here. This location is here, presumably. I believe, wait, Papua New Guinea. Did I do that right? This is Papua New Guinea. And then it has that connection there. I just like measure this generally. Okay. From here, 950, 946. Hmm. 600 almost. So that does pretty well fit the distance here. It's from essentially this Papua New Guinea to here, this point, Bismarck Sea, to here being this to here. $857. Pretty much. So that one is there, I believe, and then here to here, like there's another one along the way. 1, 2, 3, but this is like the most distant one, which probably was actually from here bounded to here. What is happening? Maybe it was actually here to here, and then, because this is bounded somehow. What happened? Here to here, and then up this way. If I just assume this was like directly adjacent here, and then up this way, which was forming here. Does that fit? Forming here even is missing like part of it. So it's forming like here. Does this line have some semblance? Some chunk like that over here. Maybe. Where was that? Oh, here. Maybe it's forming out here. Which then energetically connected through, because out here was all the way up here. Wait, let's pull up this expanding Earth map now. Oh, I can always do that. Let's even go here. Australia, so that side. I just don't think they have it positioned right. Okay, for sure though, for sure, this is where Philippines were forming. Which is also directly here, like in this region. Maybe here? So current cutting across here, right here. This current. Right here. I guess not there. Is it there? I'm just thinking there's like a like very boundary current here that was at one point when the Philippines were still here, was flowing into specifically like at this angle. So basically Australia was right here at one point, and this hasn't moved much because this shows where it was. So then that would mean Taiwan was like here. No. No, that doesn't make sense. What happened? Let's see if I can find something. Really need some visualization. This is pretty good, but it's... I just need, like, maps. Not, like, half of a map. The entirety of a map. Like, it's not enough to know that the Earth expanded. Like, I'm well aware. Now I want more, like, details. So I need to, like, be able to look at it, like, this way. But as an expanding Earth map, there's just no funding. It's atrocious. No energy. It's not even about funding. It's about energy, effort, time, willingness, participation. Maybe here might... I guess I could watch this. Let's try to find it right around here. See, this says Papua New Guinea way up here, though. I mean, like, I know some things are wrong here, and I'm not sure what things I'm wrong about. I just know that there are things I'm very confident about, like here. Like, this should be different. It's not quite right. It should be that this is actually down here. Or is it? Or no, here, maybe it is in the right spot. I'm just looking at it at such a different angle. It's pretty much supposed to be at the... I think it's here, though. I think it's there. That's where it came in at. That's where the energy came in at. This might show better. So there's a current coming this way, pretty much, into here, which then runs into another current coming this way. And more so here. Maybe there's one that goes more this way, one that... Where did I put Google Maps? Oh, that's right. Pardon me. I'm just... I need to look at this bigger without the freaking clouds. The whole reason I was looking was the clouds, huh? I just real quick went by this thing. I wonder if they do form like very. This looks like in specific directions, specifically out this way with like a general curvature. I don't want to get back on that right now though, because this was so interesting. Like, this was forming here. So maybe it wasn't ever, this was never adjacent to over here. It was kind of like forming through. It's so tricky. Not that one. Let's go back to this. I just think this is further. This is just over more. Just rotated just a little bit, and some things tweaked. In this corner, more just directly up here, which would mean. Let's see. Does that make sense? This, essentially this was adjacent. That would mean here is here. So like right here would be right here. And then this edge here to here. So pretty much that edge needs to be like this way almost into it, with this corner past it, like down here. Okay, I guess that's pretty close. Why is it, I don't know why it does that. I don't know. It's so weird though. It looks like it doesn't. Here. No, this needs to be this way. Like this is related to this. So really it was definitely here, to the point where this whole structure was off of Australia, like this way. And there was this whole like side here. That's some other stuff. Let's see. And some other stuff. Maybe down this way? I mean, here it would have had to be to here. Let's see. Kind of follow, or maybe that's a little too rough, but let's try to follow it. I don't know why it would be this rough and this more smooth over here. Let's see if it's kind of rough. Can't tell much there. Shaped by the currents afterwards, maybe? Let's say it was shaped by currents afterwards, which tends to happen, so it was more just like this. At least 700, and then let's just kind of, I don't know what to do in this segment. It might even have been more like this. This region was attached here. But then material went through this way. Or current went through this way. That basically went around here and this way. And swept into this region. It might have just created a bunch of like novas and really reshaped it. I don't know. Because this is really supported. I'm surprised there's not more structure here than just islands. It's very surprising that there's no structure there. Okay, but looking at this, maybe it kind of even goes that way. I don't know what to do for this last bit. Let's at least go to just like across here, though. Crap, I should have wrote it down. $800 to 1,000-ish, maybe even 1,100. We're going from pretty much this chakra to the end of it, I guess. Only at 3 something. So around 736 to go to that far end. Maybe this is actually from like here. Like this chunk. Yeah. So like pretty much this chunk was attached to Australia. But it was attached physically up here. So it did get moved. The whole chunk of this Southeast Asian islands got moved. But it generally has its shape to a degree here. Where it was then from here. Okay, we're getting somewhere. This bottom section then. Down here. a little more protected from the currents. Like the currents are up here really in this region. Over here they're certainly happening, but it does look a little less pronounced of like a effect where it's just not as pronounced. Which maybe like protected this continental shelf from being like broken into smaller pieces. Whereas up here, which was this segment, which was then like bonded over this one, or I want to say just like closer to the point where as it separated, it created this really as like fingers that were just magma pretty much flowing out from creating conduits. That kind of that happened also over here from a current flowing this way and just basically reforming a bond, because this whole segment was just attached here and then it reattached by a single thread. Over here pretty much did the same thing, and that's what's going on here. There's a bunch of bonds happening between chunks, energetic bonds where they're connecting to one another because they're not separating. They're still like bonded systems. So I wonder, do we see any like distinct continuation of this? Maybe aspects of it here. Like protected so it didn't have as much undercurrents, and then over here way more currents. This was like part of this magnetic field here that was physically flowing out beyond just here but into the boundary zone, which was actually over here, and just producing, just like in Yellowstone, the magnetic field goes out this way, across here, and then down to this sand dune looking thing, like this boundary right here, like there, or something of that nature, to basically point to like right here-ish. And then within there and around it, like right here, is this row of volcanoes up this like magnetic field structure, which also happens over here, where there's a structure right here, and then just a bunch of volcanoes, but especially here, this structure is in the same way here. Is this. There's that island there. So in this magnetic field here, we have this chain of islands here, and so too in this magnetic field, we have this chain of islands here. It's just of a different scale. And this is forming, or either from, like, pretty much chunks, smaller chunks, breaking off. But here, and then as Australia slides away, like this chunk here, that was here, physically, perhaps like interacts in a way where it bonds with this system across here, and then also this way by the currents, but ultimately like separating the bonds of this, like widening the bonds, like the tab, bringing like an extensional tab off of Australia to bond with adjacent systems to stabilize the region overall with the bonds. So like now the region is relatively stable, although it's still filled with volcanoes compared to when the currents were like flowing actively. And it's like the puncture hole wasn't plugged. Before this formed, the puncture hole plug where mantle was just freely flowing from the currents were just flowing and creating massive amounts of events of this nature. But then it's basically the currents have subsided so substantially where it's relatively reduced in its effect. But they're still volcanoes. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I don't make it seem like there's nothing to worry about. It's fine then, because it's all like chilling out. So basically, this chunk wrapped around Australia from right here, just a little piece right here. Which maybe is this. I guess this. I guess this is pretty good over here. It really is putting Papua New Guinea up. Like, the Laurentian Shield, like, this is Greenland, so that would be, like, Alaska it's putting it up by Alaska. I think part of it, there's just too many things. But this is certainly pretty solid. Like, this side here being right there. And then this forming right here. This being here, which then has reconnected to this as it moved from way over here. Swung open. Pretty much just swung over. Scraping as it went and just creating this region. Okay, so... Oh, there's so much. Let's look again. What can we get from this? 23.5, 22.8. Around here. It's kind of got like a flame shape, and then like at the beginning of the flame, if anything, is maybe this thing. So is there maybe another like flame shape there? Like maybe. Let's say that is 22.5, 128.75. It's really actually here. Here. It's like a positive, negative, negative, positive mound with a like low density outer region, high density outer region shell with a void inside. I'm just looking around at these features. This looks like it kind of takes this shape here. It's right here. And flows down to that creepy face, like Halloween mask looking face. Like a ghost, it really does. In some ways. Oh, fuck. Okay, let's find it. Let's find it. Lake. It's a lake. Golf? What? $28.8. Around here. Nothing standing out. Although this was reminiscent of Bighorn National Forest. Just its kind of contours, I don't know. It doesn't. Bighorn National Forest seems to have like a cup. This here. At the center of all of this in the north or western United States. Little like it, but it's like off tilted. Like it maybe had some particle there. I don't know. That would be interesting. But right next to it, like right here. It just looks like a ghost. This here, that's right, this is here. So the head's gotta be more like here. Where's the mouth? Guess it's there. Like that's the mouth. I don't. They're there. If anything below it has the features. We can see this pretty well there, like along this. Yeah. And then it widens away here. And over here, there's this thing. What the? Here's the head, here's that feature. It must be wrapping around it like here then. To maybe. It's almost like something's here. This. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. What the fuck, dudes? Oh dear God. Is this? Where is this? 140.5, 23 point, or 20, let's say 20. 140 and 24. Ew. This thing just goes right through here. Through here. Through here. Through here. Maybe through there. Looks like through there. It's really hard to see over here though. It's like the Matrix on top of the Ammonite. Wonder if these are like Ammonite-like features. These are pretty much dendrite dendrite chunks that broke off this side. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, fuck my love. Okay, where is this? Goes from here. Across. 131. Minus 21.667. 131 minus 21.67. Pretty much there. I don't know why it's like making it go away when I scroll out. Okay, so from here this way to 136.67. Minus 24.4. Pretty much there. That looks like that's probably about the boundary region. Maybe here. So that's all this region. But there's a, this is going this way and turning back this way, or this way. And there's one going up this way. Just like other ammonite features over here. Okay, so back to like Hawaiian things. So this region Okay, what would have been here? Because this... I believe that Taiwan was here. And then this was attached here. Yeah. Does that make sense? For some reason I feel like I determined at some point, okay, Taiwan was attached to this thing. So Taiwan, this was up there with Taiwan, like here, maybe right here. Right here. Where Taiwan was kind of like between them. Like there was a chunk here, this chunk here, Taiwan. Between them, so this was kind of forming here. I don't think that made sense. Uh-oh. Oh no. Like, I really have these hinges to go by that I don't want to unhinge myself from because they make too much sense to me. It's simple as that. Here was locations they were, so like they were adjacent here. Like Papua New Guinea was right, and this one even has 2, 1, 2. And really, over here, the larger one has 2 segments, and I measured them. They're about pretty solidly measured to not just these ones, but also to this one. In a way where it's like, well, it seems like that's what it was. So, like, this was definitely over there, here. So then... the next one, and then the next one went up to Oregon. So it definitely went up to Oregon to here. Which went to here, which went to here. And then definitely... formed the Philippines there. Adjacent to... which was here, I believe. This, like, situation here, I feel like is like this. They're the equivalent in the same way as there's one of these things over here, and then the one down here as well. And then over here, but then there's something going on here that I feel like maybe Australia had that corner there. So really, then this chunk was way up here. Like Southeast Asia was up here. With the Australia right adjacent, maybe. like here, Southeast Asia, like up here, this region. Does that make sense? This makes the most sense of anything I've come up with so far for this, like how this was laid out, I think. It's a little different than other models I've seen. That's why I'm like, I don't want to like deviate from just like generic things too much, where it seems like this is probably based in pretty solid evidence. Maybe what happened is it formed like they're showing initially, like that it was like this, but then it physically moved to like that second picture. Because here Papua New Guinea is almost like it could make sense that it kind of moved and like bonded energetically and then like unbonded, where like a first bond was already broken up here when Australia moved away, creating both this effect and this effect. Let's look around. It is older ocean crust there. So that was probably just up here. Pretty much just up here. And it physically slid. Like slid across a solidifying chunk that it was still able to slide across, and then the fact that it slid across it is not as visible because there's just so much like subsequent activity that basically resurfaced the entirety of the process, but we still can see the older oceanic crust in those regions because we drill for them or something. I think that's how we get it. Or it's just based on magnetic anomalies at this point. I'm not sure in the ocean crust. Yeah, but this is older here. Just physically just up here initially. So it came out basically like this didn't open until later. So it came out this way and then directly spread between the continents at that point, at the boundary of Laurentia, really, and then started to flow up this way, which is actually this way. But between them, and so as it does that, it opens a space between them, but then it creates new continent or oceanic crust that attaches to Australia, generally speaking, over here, so that as it opens, like as it widens this region behind it, it like slides that like segment with it. And then just starts to widen. So maybe sliding it down, 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 and then it bonds. Maybe it slid. Like as it opened, it basically slid to new like equilibriums, and it bonded over here through Papua New Guinea. But then the bonds broke, and it then opened more so this way. So initially, it like ballooned out here, but it just kind of spread an opening here, like an eyeball. And then it moved when the bonds broke again. Maybe so that Papua New Guinea initially was up here. Does that make sense? And then it just was like rotated out of position. Pretty much rotated. I mean, that kind of makes sense to me. That if an eddy's opening next to it, like this, it would basically push against it this way and cause it to go like on a hinge pretty much. That kind of is around this corner, generally speaking, if that were to be what's happening, where it comes up there, brings a current, cuts across, and then gets caught there and eddies there, then it kind of would widen and just generally swing that region out. So it would just turn it to a degree until it broke the bond. Turn it. Widen this region. But then I really think form a bond. Here. If we just follow this. This region is this one. So if we just follow this, maybe just through here, it generally brings us to that bond. Or to here, generally to here. So that's a good sign that they were attached as well. That's another good sign they were attached. Maybe there's more things of that nature that I didn't realize. Like this is pretty much the Oregon connection point. Or maybe it's here. Goes across. Then it kind of like swings through, it looks like. I don't know, maybe here. That was where... I think that's... This is where... So above it. So it really is. That matches there too pretty well then. If it cuts across like that, it really looks like it does right here. But then at that point, it kind of gets lost in the noise here, but it maybe is detectable. Like this stream maybe is really here. No. Here. Oh yeah. That's back there. Ew. That might be related to here though. Like initially the current came in that way, but then it started to branch off and widen a space. Or something. Before it opened, the currents. Like this just didn't open immediately, so there was just some stress, like widening it first. I think I should stop recording at this point. This is almost 2 hours, holy crap. I was just a little excited. I was making some interesting finds with Australia. Okay, I guess that's a good stopping place. There's also super volcanoes over here along this boundary. I really wanted to think about. I don't want to like stop thinking about this right now because I'm just not feeling it lately. I'm a little tired. I'm kind of on a roll though, although I also didn't really know what to do. Now I at least have like something of interest to look into. But like if over here the Philippines was happening, then maybe this is also where Hawaii formed over here? Like up here, like generally, like there's a current coming this way that maybe produces a particle in this region by an involvement with another current. It initially is producing a particle here, spins around, I don't know, gets emitted maybe. Maybe this is it emitting the particle. which then kind of like shoved it away down this way, swung it out this way and around. Does that make sense? It's this way, so it would have gone this way. Well, here's Papua New Guinea. Here. Yellowstone's here. So Yellowstone's pretty much... Here's this thing. Here's... this here. This segment here. It's pretty much here, right? This segment? Wait, no, this one. Papua New Guinea, this one. So then this segment is here. From here to here, maybe? $5.15. At 884. Why did I measure 515? Oh. Oh yeah, I need like bonds. They'd have to be on this side. There's that one. Maybe these? Let's see what this is. $5.50 for that. This was $5.50-ish. To that one. So the Philippines are forming there. Which was here. Inclusive of this segment here. So the bond was really like here, that maybe even broke. So maybe another bond was right here. Is that 550? Because it seemed way too long. 540-ish. 482. Let's go from here. Let's see, that's 482. 5 what? from further up. This is a pretty long one. This one. And this one is... over, up. Really don't see anything of that nature. Maybe here. I mean, kind of actually. So like here, let's see this. To like here. Or is it here? It was basically the tip of that. So like here. Okay, if there's something that goes there, let's measure it maybe this then. To like here. $162, and then let's go, or I guess more 200. 200, and then across to here. 527, we'll say just for that, and then I'll just put 804. I just want to see if this in any way resembles over here. Went down, over, down. Maybe opposite. Is it back? It didn't like flip. I don't think it flipped. Did it flip? It would have been attached here. So it would have flipped actually. Because this is going up the coastline. So this would have been going up the coastline. So this would have been at the base. So this region is much more like here. So maybe measure this. Let's see if this is around 200. Okay, 168. I did put 162 initially. Let's see about this. If this is around 327. 327. I don't know how defined the image was there. Okay. And then I went to 804-ish, which was kind of just in the midst of a bunch of stuff. So this one's probably not going to be as exciting looking. Let's see. Maybe also over 860. That doesn't... I almost need to measure this and go look over here for the shape and try to measure it. It's subtle in here. Let's see. That's right, I went to here. That's right, that's right. I went to that. It's probably not the worst location, maybe around here. I don't know. So is it upside down though? It's here. Okay. Sounds good. Till next time. See y'all. Peace out.